Ranch, Chuckwagon, supper, and Old West Show, the best place to be. Ride in a wagon, sit on a log, and listen to the story. The battles fought, the lessons taught of how the West was hard to tame. It's all brought to life right here at our special place on the West Texas Plain. So round up all your little doggies and herd them on in for a great evening of entertainment under the Texas sky, sun, and wind.
You gotta get it weighted down, a bunch of people. It doesn't bounce in my hand. It should be about 6:30.
Welcome to Creekwood Ranch. I'm Carol Whipple, and I'm happy to say that this is my home. My father came and bought this ranch in 1952, so we've been here quite a while. This part of the country is very important to the ranching heritage of our country. It's what's known as shortgrass plains, and our buffalo grass is probably the most nutritious grass grown in this whole country. Another unique feature of this particular ranch is that it has live water on it. Most of the plains area was not able to be settled until the invention of the windmill, so that the wind power could lift the water from underground sources. But we have the canyon with the live water in it, as well as windmills that water our stock and give us water whenever we're riding and need a refreshing drink. Another interesting feature of this country is its history. This area was a great hunting ground as well as a winter campground for many Indian tribes. We have found on the ranch itself several burial places. We don't have a burial ground per se, but we have had several infant burials, and we've even found what's known as a floodplain burial, where the person just lay down and died beside the creek. This is a family adventure. My husband and I are joined with our son and daughter-in-law. Our other two daughters have an interest in it, but unfortunately they don't live here, so they're only here on a part-time basis. So if you're lucky, you'll see the whole family when you come to Creekwood Ranch.
The part of history that we are portraying here is the 1880s. When you come to the Creekwood Ranch Chuckwagon Supper and Old West Show, as you step out our barn door, you are stepping back into the 1880s. You know, Colonel Goodnight that came into this country in the late 1870s was credited with inventing the first chuckwagon. We have carried on that tradition. We have an original chuckwagon. Even the box on the chuckwagon is made from original 1880 material. Everything is as near to being a authentic replica as we can possibly make it. Our creek that runs through here was the very last tributary of water that was explored in the United States. And when you figure that the whole United States was settled, and yet this was such hostile Indian country that no white man would venture into it. Our country being at 3,800 feet altitude, with our warm days and cool nights and no humidity, makes for perfect weather. It has always been my belief that the Indians knew this, is the reason they wanted to keep this garden spot of the plains all to themselves.
They call me Diamond Lil out here for reasons we won't be discussing on this here film. I'm going to tell you a little bit about what we do around here. We take a step back to the 1880s, back to my time. We cross through a fence and we're there. And you'll see many things on the way down to our campsite. As you can see right now, it's untamed. It's the real West. It's the Wild West. There's all kinds of things out here. There's buffalo and there are longhorn, actual breeds that you don't see too often around other parts of this country. We have cavalrymen who tell the story about what happened. Usually cavalrymen are looking for someone. People called renegades, people who hold up the wagon trains, harass the city folk that come out to visit with us. And the cavalrymen take care of those bad guys. Then we make our way into the campsite. And to greet you at the campsite, we have a lot of musicians.
I was out walking one morning for pleasure, spied a young cowboy, he's riding along. His hat was thrown back and his spurs were jingling. As he approached, he was singing this song. Whoopie-tie-I-O, get along, little doggies, it's your misfortune, I'm none of my own. Whoopie-tie-I-O, get along, little doggies.
Earth, Father Sky, Great Spirit, walks with wind, thanks you for this land. Make the hunting good today. Give our warriors the sight of the eagle and the hawk. This place is my home. My village was here. My father, my grandfather. Many nights we sat at our campfires and shared our feelings. The young men spoke of war. The old men, the women, the children begged for peace. The drums of my ancestors are silent now. My people are on the reservation. The white man's answer to civilizing the Indian. But for one man, this man we call Tumbleweed, I would be on the reservation also. Do you love this land? Then do what you can for this land. My people love this land. It is in my heart to say to you, welcome to my home.
One morning she went in, she sat down by his bed. She looked at him real pitiful, and she started crying, and wiping her eyes. Oh man, I done had your coffin made.
In the next few days, she even had that coffin brought in and sat right beside his bed. Kept telling him how bad he looked, how sick he looked, convinced that old man that he was already dead. In fact, they even laid him out in the coffin and started making arrangements for the burying.
Well, the same day that old woman had gone home and started talking her husband right into the coffin, the other one went home and she got out her spinning wheel. And she sat down and she just started it to whirring. And she was there working at it when her old man came in from the field. Just a whirring and a whirring. But there weren't no wool on the spindle. Old man looked at her and he didn't know what in the world she was doing.
Now, what in the world are you doing, old woman?
Spinning.
So lay down your trains and blocks, little boy. Our pony will take us to places of joy. Over tall mountains and down to the sea, and up winding rivers we'll go you and me. We'll laugh and we'll sing and we'll make lots of noise. We'll run and we'll play. We won't need any toys. Those clouds turn to candy that tastes so sweet. We'll go so fast no one can catch us. Like the birds that fly high in the sky, and they'll soar overhead and protect us. We'll ride in the shade of their wings. Don't say goodbye, 'cause it's not very far. We just ride a little horsey ride here where we are. We can go when we want to and come back every day. Grandpa will hold you and show you
story that talks about why dogs always sniff each other's tail. Long ago, there was some dogs that lived in a village, and one evening they went out to the corn patch to go to a dance, and as they were dancing, before they started dancing, they all took their tails off and hung them on the corn stalks. And as they started dancing, right in the middle of their dancing, they heard noises that scared them. They thought that something was getting ready to come after them. And so they went over to the corn stalks and they pulled the tails that they could get to and they stuck it on themselves. And then they ran off. And until this day, the dogs still go around sniffing each other's tails because they still are looking for their own tails.
We've got the most, the stinkingest old mule skinner you'll ever meet in your life. We call him Tumbleweed down here. Profane, vulgar, and stinking he is. He's our main #1 mule skinner.
Hello folks, I'm Tumbleweed Jimmy. I'm out here at Creekwood Ranch. You know, the devil has his own breed. Whenever the devil was thrown out of heaven, he was given one thing, and that was to develop his own breed of animals, and the only thing he come up with that could aggravate man is a mule. And this here's the hybrid that we got today. These are some small mules, but whenever the devil landed and gave us these mules, he created one havocal thing for the human race. So the devil decided to find a few folks, and then he'd add to them something similar to the hybrid mule. Mules don't like horses or any other animals. They don't even like each other. A lot of these old mule skinners, what they call them, because they skinned the hide off them mules, you know, peeled it off the top of them right up in here. Them old mule skinners, they can't get along with folks. They can't get along with good-looking ladies. They don't never get everything settled down for forever because they're just a devilish hybrid. That's what they is. Now these old mules have aggravated mankind, like I said a while ago, because the devil decided that the aggravation might help settle the country. Because of these mules, just as honor as this one here is, who likes to bite people, and you sucker you, I'm about to bite you back. I'll bite your ear. Yeah, now you pay attention here. Did you see that? He tried to bite me. We decided we'd go west with these hombres, and because of them, they were able to pull more of a load, as mean as they are, and as contrary as they are, and as contradictory as they is. They help settle this country. Because you can load them down. They endure the heat and the long, hard pulls and the hot where there's no water. They're a good animal, but you have to find something good in everything that crawls on the planet of the earth, or it ain't no good. So I figure there's a few things good about them. The only thing bad about them is it's just they're a mule, that's all. Mule skinners themselves lead a wild, hard life. Most of them don't live long. The mule don't get them, they die of pure anger, thinking of frustration of other things to say to them mules, and they wind up dead. We're sure glad that y'all are out here to observe one of the last pieces of modern Americana. You know, it was just yesteryear, 1880s, was just a fleeting moment in our history. And these mules helped write just a little sentence or two on that page of history by actually, through the Army in the 1870s, we had mules for the wagons, and they developed all of the mule trails out through here, developed into highways and byways that we live in now. So the mule, despite his honoriness, did contribute a wee bit there to the western scene. Sure, thank y'all. Y'all come back, and we'll talk about the longhorn one of these days. Moses, you ain't holy. Peter, you ain't saint. Tell you what, boys, we're gonna ride some more. Oh my God, you little. That's gonna be seen by some boys and girls. They don't want to hear what I'm thinking.
Suppose I should tell you a story about this part of the country. Back in 1874, after the cavalry ran the Indians out, that winter was when Colonel Goodnight decided he's going to bring some cattle down into this area. This area makes a great place for cattle because the canyon walls serve as a fence, and the springs and the creek serves as a good place to water the cattle. And that means there's always something for them to eat down here year-round. Cattle do pretty good down in these areas. This area is kind of a neat spot because just north of here, about 60 miles, is another creek called the Canadian River. It's a little larger than this one down here, and back in the late 1870s, well, a Spanish fellow by the name of Romero came over here from New Mexico. He kept his sheep up in Red River in that area and decided he'd move down in here where the climate is a little easier to take. So he took into the Canadian River area, and Goodnight had the Paladura Canyon area down here, and they decided that the line halfway between would be the boundary, and that nobody from either place would cross that boundary and cause any trouble. Well, there's a town out north of here called the Old Tascosa. Used to be kind of a watering hole for a lot of people, and they had several skirmishes there. And one of the skirmishes, one night some of Romero's buddies came into town, actually with some of his relatives, and they got to drinking a little heavy, and they started a little fight with some of the guys from the JA ranch. That's Colonel Goodnight's ranch. And, well, they went and had some shooting go on, and a couple of the fellows from Goodnight's crew, they got shot and killed. Well, that next morning, kind of tell you how the law was around here. Well, Goodnight sent a posse out over to go see Romero, and as soon as Romero found out about it, he went and inquired with his troops, and sure enough, it was his cousin and his brother-in-law that had shot the two fellas from the JA. Well, that same morning, Romero shot them both. Killed them both right there. To kind of give you an idea of what kind of law went on around this part of the country. It's a pretty rough place. If you can imagine sleeping out on the ground here, living out here day and night for months on end without having much shelter at all. Just living in a bedroll and eating off the back of the Chuckwagon and make you pretty rough. That's the kind of thing we're going to show you out here at the Creekwood Ranch. We probably won't shoot you, but we'll show you the fun and excitement there is to be had out here. You might even get to have a peek at some longhorns or some buffalo out here in this area. The kind of animals that inhabited this place back years ago. You know, the buffalo were just as thick as they could be. The Indians used to say the buffalo were like the stars. They were just so thick in these areas. There were millions of them that would travel through here, and as they came across, they'd make a path just as wide as you could see, and they just eat everything as they went. And after the white man came into this area and the buffalo hunters came through, they wiped the buffalo out. Well, we've got a little piece of that history here for you, so when you take a step back to the 1880s, you can see what it was like out here in the Texas Panhandle and the Paladura Canyon area at the Creekwood Ranch.
We have a few shady characters down here. We have like I was telling you before about that renegade, and we call him Dangerous Dan. He pops up every once in a while and chases the sheriff around, and sometimes the sheriff gets to chase him out of town.
Dan Aiken, I don't know.
Heartbreaking kid.
Heartbreaking, yeah. One of those girls said something about heartbreak,
Boy,
Dan.
he's an hombre to keep an eye on, all right.
He's been around. I bet he's the same guy.
I heard tell he stole a fellow's watch while he was wearing.
Really?
Yes, sir.
Well, now, if that's the same fella, I've heard tell that he can steal a saddle off of a horse.
Well, I heard tell he can steal the heart of any woman you choose.
Yeah, I'll bet you there's a lot of broken hearts out there.
That's what I've heard.
That's what I've heard, too.
His own mama said he'd be in jail before he's big enough to shave.
Oh, yeah, damn.
Hey, you boys talking about Dan Aiken? Hey, boy!
Right him out of
Get away from that woman! What's your name over there?
Woo! Well, you better get out of here before you get strung up, fella.
Oh, yeah? I won't pull that gun.
Be careful. Be careful.
Get out of my territory, Ranger! Your last chance!
We're hoping to see a hanging before too long. Then we pull out in the evening we watch the sunset. Out here we have $1 million sunsets. You won't see these anyplace else but right here.